Hello BookTube, Sarah here, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with my Pick Me a Book for June of 2017. So Pick Me a Book is a fairly new feature on my channel, and what it is I'm asking you guys to help pick me a book to read for my TBR for that month, and of course this month happens to be for June. So how this works, if you're new, is that at the last Friday reads of the month, I ask you guys to pick me a number within a range of numbers. And for this month, it was numbers 51 through 75, and those numbers correspond to my TBR. If you go on Goodreads and you add something and you mark something you guys want to read, it lists it in a special shelf, if you will. That shelf is actually numbered. I don't know how many of you actually know that, but there's numbers beside each of the books. And you can sort them, they go in by number by date purchased. So the oldest books, like, the first book you added as want to read will be, book number 1 until you read it, and then it moves everything around. You guys know what I'm saying. So essentially I had you guys pick me some numbers within that range of numbers, and I corresponded them to my TBR. Now I did a little creative editing in some spots, meaning I didn't necessarily go with exactly the number that you picked, but if you picked a book, like if you picked a number and the book is part of a series and I haven't read the books prior to that one, I will jump right ahead to the first book, if that makes sense. So I'll explain it as I go along. But essentially what I'm asking you guys now in this video, please, is to listen. Like, I'm going to talk about all the books very briefly that have been picked. And I want you guys to post in the comments below, please, which book you would like to see me read in the month of June. So yeah, and then the one with the most votes is the book that I will pick. I do it this way because I don't have a huge presence on Twitter. I don't go on Twitter very often. I think that all that gets posted there are my videos. So that's why I ask you guys to pick me a number. I'm much more active on Instagram. But anyway, let's jump in and get started before this video becomes entirely too long. So the very first number that was picked, excuse me, I'm just checking my notes here, was number 56, and that was picked by Lena. I hope I'm saying your name right. It's L2IsNA. And she actually picked, the book she picked was Dream of Danger, which is book 1.5 in a series. So I went back, I have read book number 1, but it was a number of years ago, and I really want to reread it. And it's called Sleep with the Lights On by Maggie Shayne. It is the very first book in the Brown and DeLuca series. And this book is a great thriller, sort of paranormal, mystery, romance. There's some romance in there. Essentially what the story is about, it's about a woman who, and I can't remember if she was born blind or whether she lost her sight as she got older for some reason. But she ends up having a cornea transplant, which regains her sight. Well, the corneas, of course, were donated, if you will. It was a donor, like any kind of organ donor, donated by, I don't think she finds out who it is till later, but it's a serial killer. And she is now viewing what he did with his eyes. Does that make sense? It's really creepy. Like, the title of the book, Sleep with the Lights On, I remember there were parts of this book when I read it the first time that freaked me right out. This was a really good book. Maggie Shayne is a fantastic author. She does a lot of paranormal, and she's very, very interesting. But, yeah, so this is the first book that you guys have to choose from. The next one, speaking of slightly more paranormal, this was, number 60 was picked, by the romance queen of BookTube, Sissy. And she picked, book number 60 is The Witches of Lynchford, and this is by Paul Cornell. Whoa, sorry, that's really bright. Hang tight, guys. Let's try that. That's a little bit better. Still not fantastic. Sorry. Isn't technology fun? Sorry, it's going to be a little blowing it out a little bit. It's best I can do. This is a book that went around quite a bit on BookTube a couple years ago. And it is, I believe, classified as a novella. It's only about 150 pages long. And I think it's about a small town that has witches. It's an urban fantasy. It's labeled as well. I picked this one up when I heard about it. I really did want to read it. Now, like I said, that was almost 2 years ago. But I am still interested in reading it. So, yeah, let me know if this is the book. So the next book that was picked was actually picked by 4 different people in a roundabout sort of way. So the way that I do this, picking these numbers and deciding which numbers I'm going to use, is, oops, sorry, I totally just lost what I'm doing on my tablet, is that the older the comment, they get picked first. So the older comments get picked first, and then we go down the line from there. So number 72 was picked by Jackie AS, and that book actually was third in the series, and it was a Harlequin American romance novel. So I went on and I looked, and I'm like, okay, so I'll jump ahead and I'll pick book number 1 in the series. Well, book number 1 in the series was a Christmas book, and I only read Christmas books at Christmas time, so I went down to the next number, which is number 73. Number 73 was picked by Doreen Lowe and Tamerica. Am I saying your name correctly? I apologize if I said it wrong. But both of them picked number 73. So keep number 73 in mind. Also, book number 65 was picked by, I hope I'm saying your name right, Drammy One Forever. I think that's how it breaks out. And she picked book number 3 in this series. So immediately I went ahead to number 1, and all 4 of those people ended up with, drumroll please, When Lightning Strikes by Brenda Novak, the very first book in the Whiskey Creek series. So in a roundabout way, all these people ended up picking this book, which is kind of fun. Like I said, first in a series, there's actually a novella that comes before this called When We Touch. It's less than 100 pages, so if this book is the one that does get picked for me to read in June, I will also be reading the novella that comes before it and then jumping into this book. This is small town romance. It is contemporary romance. This is a really adorable series I've heard. I've started really collecting these books, and I have yet to read them. So I think I need to jump on this one soon. The next number that was picked was book number 67, and that is Playing with Fire by Rachel Lee. This is, wait for it, book number 53 in the Connaught County series. Now, I don't believe this is a series you need to read in any particular order. A lot of these you probably don't need to read in order, but if there's only 10 or 20 books in the series, yes, I will go ahead and jump back to book number 1. 53 books? No, I'm not starting at number 1. Mainly because 90% of what I read is on ebook, and I don't believe some of those were published in the 90s, that they're even available for the Kindle, so I don't know. So this is the one that we're going to go with. It's a Harlequin romantic suspense novel, and it's about an arsonist and a lawyer, I believe. So, or a lawyer and a cop trying to catch an arsonist, I think. So it sounds like fun. It'll be a good read, I think. And the last number that was chosen, these are all the numbers. Like, I was able to fit every single number that you guys picked up until me sitting down to shoot this video. So thank you all very much. Is number 66. And I do apologize, I cannot pronounce your username. It's IYQRYCY. And I actually clicked on your channel just to see if your name, like your given name, was there anywhere. And it wasn't there, which is absolutely cool. But what I do love is I just had to mention very quickly, your banner image on your channel is all the characters from CSI New York, which is like my favorite TV show ever. So I like you a lot already. And you picked, actually this is kind of also a tease towards my June TBR, which is my next video that'll be coming up. And the book that she picked is Cowboy Behind the Badge by Delores Fossen. This is book number 2 in the Sweetwater Ranch series. Now, book number 1, I actually have picked to read in June already on my June TBR. So the book that she picked, I think, was actually number 8 in the series. So I went ahead and jumped ahead and looked and went, oh, number 1's already on my TBR. So I immediately went with number 2. So this is the book that was picked. But anyway, I believe this is an intrigue novel, a Harlequin intrigue novel. So it's another romantic suspense type story. About a cop, I guess, a cowboy cop kind of thing. Sounds like a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm looking forward to potentially reading this one too. So, as per usual, guys, in the description box below, I will leave a link to each one of these books, in case you're curious and you want to read a little bit more about them yourself and see what you think. But also, please post in the comments below what book you guys would like to see me read in June. And I will announce which book wins, essentially, when I do my Friday reads this coming weekend. So anyway, guys, that is it for me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much. Take care. Happy reading. Bye, guys.